Monday night, the planning board met and began their meeting with an approval not required plan for 190 Sumner Street, lots 5, 6, 20, and 21. After a very brief discussion, the board moved to their next agenda item, a special permit extension for auto storage at Carnegie Row. The board discussed the landscaping plan with the representatives and agreed on an extension.
It's up to the dates.
Extension for 1 year.
May, you come in May with a plan, get the work, we talk about the plan, we all agree on a plan, we sign off on a plan, work is done by the end of September. You come back in December for the extension.
Yes.
The planning board will meet again on December 16th. There was some confusion at the selectmen's meeting on Tuesday night. With an applicant in front of them for a Class 2 auto dealer's license at 18 Plimpton Ave, it was unclear what the intent of the applicant was.
I will not be operating any cars through the property itself. I do have a mechanic that I usually work with right on the street on Broadway. And if any cars that potentially get stored, it will be at that location. That if started.
So there'll be no vehicles at number 18 Plimpton Avenue.
That's correct.
On display for storage or anything else.
Correct.
At this time or any other time in the future.
Absolutely correct.
Sir?
But you're going to put cars on Pleasant Street. You're going to sell those cars? Or you're just going to store them?
No, so definitely not selling until, like I mentioned, getting the actual location set up and going.
How many cars can you store at that location?
4.
Four?
Correct.
You said, I'm sorry, Pleasant Street or Broadway?
Neither. Broadway.
Broadway.
Yes, sir.
So once you buy 4 cars, that's it? You can't sell them, you can't do anything with them? You're just going to sit on them for months or years, whatever, till you get a location?
Not at all. I'm definitely brand new into the idea of owning my own business, so I wasn't sure how the process goes with the town.
So this license is for the location at 18 Plimpton Ave. You can't assemble anything there, so we'd have to not take that off. If you talk about buy, selling, and exchanging, you can do that via computer
Right.
for someplace off-site, but you can't actually have vehicles at this premises, which you're asking to be licensed for, and then have someone come and pick it up and make either an exchange or give you a check and they drive off with the vehicle. That can't happen here.
Most of the confusion came from whether the license would be used for wholesale or retail use. Retail use is not allowed in the residential zone. The town manager and executive assistant, Christina Mulvihill, joined the discussion to provide some input. After closing the hearing, the selectmen decided to wait 1 week to carry out a decision on the license. Selectman Hajar agreed to meet with the applicant to further discuss the application and help him work out some of those discrepancies.
Okay.
And my personal feeling is I don't think it's going to be that major that we have to start all over again.
It's a matter of tweaking this to get the right
I
verbiage.
understand Bill's point about we've closed the hearing, but I don't think anything of substance is going to change other than making it clearer on the form about what his request is. I think now that we've had this exchange back and forth, he understands our concerns and he understands what he
He
needs
just
to.
told us in response to Mr. Maloney's question that he hasn't got any wholesale market range. He told us he's going to buy cars and store them. He's going to be selling retail, and that's not a proper location for a retail establishment.
But I think you also said the opposite too, that he
think
set
it's
it up
better-
that way thinking that that's what he needed to do to obtain his license. So since he hasn't started his business, we can make sure that it's on the right path from day one so that there's not an issue. I don't think we have to hold this up for another hearing, another posting, and more back and forth.
The next Board of Selectmen meeting will be December 10th. Wednesday's school committee meeting was packed full of appearances and presentations. The night began with NHS Athletic Director John Longley recognizing the fall athletes and awards from the season. Steve Conant and members of the marching band were in attendance to recap their championship-winning season. Segal Reese, Aubrey Seol, and all the Norwood School District principals rounded out a long list of appearances that night. The committee further discussed the anticipated Joint Facilities Committee launch on July 1st, 2020. The committee made its decision on the drafted Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, in regard to the newly formed committee's objectives.
So I believe that the motion as it currently stands is that we would approve the MOU and also instruct the Buildings and Grounds Department to put together a list of benchmarks representing the level of service that we have in FY20 and to complete that no later than the end of FY21 and preferably sooner. So that's what we're voting on.
Is that the longest motion ever?
No.
Even remotely. That was a lot of.
Please record.
All right.
Close. It might be in the top 50, top 20 though. But, yeah.
I can add some more qualifiers.
All right, I'm going to put it to a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
No,
All right, 3
in favor.
All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Due to recent cancellations, the next school committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 8th at the Balch School. The Conservation Commission also met on Wednesday night, and their first appointment of the night was Chris Hirsch from the Neponset River Watershed Association and the Massachusetts Division of Ecological Restoration. Hirsch presented the proposed plan to remove the Mill Pond Dam to restore Trap Hole Brook.
What we're proposing for this project essentially is to remove the dam, to partially dredge the impoundment, to re-establish the stream channel through the impoundment. There were some concerns about the infrastructure, particularly the Sumner Street culvert, and the elevation that would need to be made up between the stream bed down here and the bottom of the Sumner Street culvert. And so the solution we're proposing for that issue is to create a series of pools and riffles that will make up that elevation change, so that this Sumner Street culvert does not become perched or a barrier for the fish passage, because ultimately the goal of the project is to reestablish fish passage and habitat through the area. So what we're planning to do is have kind of a natural meander with some natural wood, root wads, kind of armoring the bends to kind of try to keep it within the bounds of what we're anticipating.
After discussion, the board asked for more testing of the area to be done and then to report back with the results. The Conservation Commission voted to cancel their meeting on December 18th, and they will meet after the new year. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch it on demand at nordcommunitymedia.org.